4 rooms, bright and iron and withered fumes. Far below these sinful means.
Hey guys, Dave Darren here. Good to see Corwin, good to see a couple other people. Of course, I have such an insignificant show, and of course, Facebook has finally blocked me. You know, I was doing shows on Facebook recently because I figured anything I say on social media is going to get blocked, and I'm hammered now for 30 days on Facebook, which in all reality, Facebook is going to be having their own agenda anyway, and I disrespect them. So that's exactly why I was doing my recent shows on Facebook, because I knew I'd get blocked, and I consider them completely insignificant, and I disregard them totally. So that's why I figured, you know, fuck it, I'll do stuff on there. I do stuff on YouTube too. YouTube is not far behind them with their censorship, their lack of freedom of speech, and their silencing anything except for their own opinion. By the way, if you have the opinion of these liberals on Facebook or social or YouTube, you will go viral. Anyone that's opposed to their opinion, even slightly, you know what happens? Your show does not get distributed. You guys, I think some of you say you don't see announcements when my show is out there. Even when you're part of my Facebook group or what do they call that on YouTube? You're a part of the group in YouTube. You've subscribed. There we go. You subscribe. You don't get alerted because, of course, YouTube and Facebook, unless you agree with them, you are stifled. Remember Edith Bunker, stifle. Archie used to say stifle it. Today I'm going to talk about, now let me pull myself down. Today I was working out. That's what I'll put myself back. My excuse for being dressed like this is I've been really hyping up the fitness level. You can see I got some stuff going on here. I got this going on. I have really been pumping myself up. And if you remember, this was from coronavirus with all the bullshit. I started thinking, you know what? Fuck that crazy shit going on. If I keep myself physically fit, I'm going to be one that's going to serve. I'm going to be the last guy on the planet because I'm bulked up and my immune system's strong and I am a strong guy. So screw those people with the mask and all that bullshit. We see what kind of bullshit it is now, right? Did we see it too late? I knew this was bullshit from day one, all right? Let me get back to what I'm talking about here. Today, so after I'm working out, I'm watching during my workout. Believe it or not, I watch programs that I pre-record. I was watching, what was it? Alfred Hitchcock Hour. I was watching that at pre-record. As soon as I'm done the pre-records, and it's like the Alfred Hitchcock Hour is an hour. I work out for an hour and 20 minutes, so I have some other stuff in between. I turn on channel 3 so that it goes to live TV, and I see Louis Farrakhan. Isn't he a fucking loot? Didn't he have something going on with him where he was in the news media about some shit that happened in his life, something with his wife or something like that? Here's a guy that is representative of a people. Louis Farrakhan is up there. He's irrelevant. He looks like a fucking stick figure now. And I would not want the equivalent white or Hispanic or Latino. I don't think anyone would want him to represent them. And now, of course, I'm going to get targeted for being prejudiced for saying that, right? Someone that is honored by the black community, Louis Farrakhan, here I'm saying he's a douchebag. And he's a douchebag, all right? So I turned on, I saw channel 3, then I went to another channel because I didn't want to go through this again with the remembrance of a tragedy that occurred. Yes, I put it up here. Yes, George was murdered. Yes, police involved need to be punished. I know this already. I know this. It's been banged into my head. It's been banged into people's storefronts. It's been banged into people's destruction of their lives by looters who have no idea about George Floyd whatsoever. They're not there breaking into buildings. They're not there burning down buildings in honor of George Floyd. So stop it already with saying that a guy that says it's all bullshit and you come down on him and then you declare him as racist just so you can continue with your bullshit and make my points irrelevant, all right? So this is what I said, I said, yes, George was murdered. Yes, police involved need to be punished, but honored with all channels memorial service. Did you guys know this? Did you guys know this? In 2007, and I said this before, now we're honoring a guy. We're honoring a guy. We are paying tribute, a memorial service to a guy that in 2007 he went into a home invasion, held a gun, a loaded gun, into a woman's stomach. I heard some rumor that she was pregnant. I'm not sure about that. He held a gun to a woman's stomach and searched the home for drugs, money, And this in 2009, he served 5 years in jail. All right, so now he served 5 years in jail, and now between 2014 when he got out and 2020, there's a lot of years involved. He might have lived as a saint. And if he lived as a saint, that's fine, but I'm not going to fucking honor him because he was in jail. Now, I even said earlier in another broadcast that once you get out of jail and you serve your time in jail, the American system punishes you forever. You can't get your next job. You can't get your next employment. It's a struggle to survive, and that's why a lot of people end up back in jail, because we put them on the streets and we declare them free. They ain't free. They're still paying a penalty because they've got that. As soon as the background check comes back, it shows that he in 2007, armed robbery, home invasion. 2009, spent 5 years in jail. 5 years in jail. He would have spent more, but it was a plea bargain. 5 years in jail. And now he's out and he's applying for a job with me. Am I going to hire him? Am I going to take that risk? Someone hired him, took the risk. COVID-19 slapped him in the ass with getting laid off from that job. So he's back on the street without a job. And then he's got the $20 bill. However he got that, whether he knew he had it or whether he got it somehow, whether he went looking for it, we don't know. Maybe that'll come out. Maybe that will come out, but probably not, because liberal media does not want out there. And I had to search for it. I did a Google search for, what did I put in my Google search? George Floyd, sentence 29, why, or something like that. And I could not get it until I went down to like the third page. And then I could finally read what George was in jail for. Everything else was about the police. And I said, and anyone that's going to complain, I said that the policemen need to serve a severe penalty for the murder of George. But I'm not going to fucking I'm not going to watch the program for somebody that held a gun to a woman's stomach to rob her. Fuck that. I'm not going to memorialize the guy. I'm not going to pay him honor by watching the fucking program. Now, granted, the police need to serve time for that penalty, for that significant penalty. But I'm not going to honor the fucking guy. And I'm not going to go out and burn down fucking buildings. And I am not going to go down a street and loot and break windows in honor of... That's part of the memorial service, isn't it? Part of the memorial service is watching Farrakhan on TV with his bullshit. And the other part of it is I got to put up with people saying I'm racist. And the other memorial part of it is I've got to not remember that George committed a crime in 2007 by holding a gun to a woman's stomach and robbing her, and then being in jail for 5 years. I can't remember that at all. That's got to be eliminated from the history books, which is what liberals do. They want to eliminate history. They want to eliminate history and rewrite it like they did in the book 1984 and the movie 1984, if you watch that. So I got to say, I am pretty fed up with it. I'm pretty fed up with the looters getting away with shit. You know, I don't like that. I like people that work, that earn what they have in the possession of their homes, possession of the cars there. I like people that bust their ass at work. I don't like people that bust a window and don't work and take shit out of there. I'm pissed off at that because I don't like slackers. And people hate me. Man, they really fucking hate me. Because now, how dare me get on the day that there's a memorial for George Floyd. There's a memorial for George Floyd right now on TV, Dave, and you're talking about George Floyd in a negative context. I'm talking about the reality of it. If the guy was never in jail, I would be more sympathetic to it. In fact, I would be very sympathetic to it. Already I said 3 times now, maybe even 4 times, that he was murdered. The police that murdered him need to serve time in jail. But I ain't going to fucking memorialize the guy because he was in jail for 5 years. And he held a gun to a woman's stomach and robbed her. Fuck that. What are you guys, out of your fucking minds? And then you're going out there to loot. Take things that don't belong to you. Close down businesses. And the reason I got shut down on Facebook is I said that the group, this is exactly why. And I should show that up there, and I will, maybe next show. This is exactly why Facebook shut me down for 30 days. Because I said the looters need to stand up, or not the looters. The looters need to be shut down. Not stand up, they need to be shut down. And that's exactly why I got censored on Facebook. Because I said the businesses being robbed, the business owners need to be standing up with significant things in their arms. And you know what I'm talking about. And that's why I dare mention the words. I dare mention the physical structure in their arms, to defend their businesses. I dared said that. That was determined to be hate. That's when I said that the business owners need to have something in their arms and defend their businesses. It's perfectly okay for people, for liberals out there, and these people throwing bricks. It's okay for them to have a brick in their arm, throwing it into a glass window to rob. That's fine. Facebook will let that get out there. I can't say a business owner's got to have something in his arms to protect his business, but it's perfectly fucking okay to give a looter in his arm a brick to break a fucking window. You know, I hate that. Man, I fucking hate that. I hate the fact that we have to baby people that are criminals. We have to baby criminals. We have to give there's no, what, most states don't have a death penalty. You know what? Suppose this happened. Suppose George, who pointed a gun at that woman's stomach, suppose he shot her and killed her. So suppose this, all right? Suppose he's holding a gun at her stomach. He could have shot her, right? He could have. It's the next step beyond, right? He could, and his intent is to rob at gunpoint. But he's not bringing a water pistol in. He's got a gun. He's got a gun there. Suppose he killed a woman. And suppose he served 20 years in jail. And suppose this was earlier, so he got out in 2017. And he was convicted of a murder. And there's murderers that are out there, right? There are murderers that are released from prison. COVID-19, we released prisoners. So suppose he was out there in 2017 and he was living a great life. He moved from, where did they say he moved from? He moved from somewhere in Texas. He's starting up a new, that's all over the news. He's starting off a new life. He's now St. George, right? He is now St. George. And we have to worship St. George. And if you don't worship him, Dave, you're a racist prick. That's what everyone says right now. They're all saying, Dave Darren, racist piece of shit. Because now on the Memorial Day of George, he dares come out and tells you what George did. Where I don't respect the guy. I respect the fact that he should not have been murdered. I said it now 5 times. He should not have been murdered. That was a crime against him. He was murdered. He should not have been murdered at all. Period. Period. And the police that did it need to be punished severely. How many times do I have to fucking say that for people to realize I'm not racist? The police need to be punished severely for the murder of George Floyd. However, George Floyd held a fucking gun to a woman's belly to rob her in 2007, and in 2009 he was convicted for what should have been a longer time, but a plea bargain to 5 years in jail. And now we do a memorial service for the guy like he's a fucking saint. You know, there's good people out there, and he might have been good for the last 6 years. I don't know. But I'm not going to worship a guy and have a memorial service and watch it on TV while I'm pumping iron to bless him. Fuck no, I'm sick and tired of coming down too easily on criminals, all right? And you know, it's funny, like I said, death penalty. That doesn't exist anymore in most states. Some it does, I think. You know what? If you kill people, you should be killed. Really, in all reality, really, if you kill someone, now, of course, there's going to be that gray area. My wife watches all these shows on TV, all the homicide shows, all that on ID's channel, and people are convicted of DNA. They're convicted, and then years later, there's the DNA samples and all that study and all that, and they find some people innocent after they were guilty and served 20 years in jail, and then they have to release them because they're innocent. But you know, but in reality, if someone killed someone, I want them fucking dead. Now, you know, the funny thing is, if someone suppose someone killed my wife, right? And suppose it was violent and torturous. Would I want that person killed? You know what? Maybe I want him tortured. Maybe I think that the only way of torturing him is we can't have him in jail and I can't go there daily and beat him. See, now if I say this on Facebook, they would shut me down. For they're saying that if someone killed my wife and gave her torture, that I'd want to go to jail every day and I would want to beat him. If I say that, I'm probably going to get cut off on YouTube, by the way. For anyone listening, I'm already banned for 30 days on Facebook because I disrespect them. So I did the show on Facebook. You notice I haven't been on YouTube for a while. I've been doing it on Facebook because I knew they'd shut me down because they're lame pricks. They want censorship, that anything that you say that's different than them, they cut your ass off. They do a Lorena Bobbitt to you and they cut you off, all right? But, you know, like I said, if someone killed my wife in a torturous manner, even if it wasn't torturous, would I want them dead quickly? You know what? I would want them to suffer. I would not want them dead quickly. So there's the type of guy I am. I would want revenge. I'd probably be a vigilante. If the guy got out, I'd probably be a vigilante. And now everyone out, I guess the people that are going to do the looting and the stealing, what do they think? They're vigilantes now? Because George was murdered. So now they're going out as vigilantes and they're busting windows and they are setting fires to the building because what? They're vigilantes? They're vigilantes not on the people that committed the crime. They're vigilantes to all of America. That's what they are. If you consider yourself doing this because you're a vigilante, you know what you are? If you're a vigilante and someone kills your wife and you go out and you get that guy because somehow he escaped the law and the legal punishment that he deserves, then you're a vigilante to that one guy. Remember Charles Bronson with the movies? You know, I dig that. But if you guys now are looting buildings and burning fires as a vigilante to what happened to George Floyd, you're vigilantes to not the people that committed the crime. You're vigilantes against your fellow man, your fellow black man, your fellow white man, your fellow black woman, your fellow white woman. I showed you a video, and at the end of today's show, I'll air it again, of that black woman in the heated zones that you guys are burning up. You can see the tears in her eyes, the devastation and terror, all of it, because you guys are deciding to burn down her fucking neighborhood. You guys are criminals and you need to serve time in jail. And the reason I got off of Facebook is I said the police are using rubber bullets. Why rubber? Why rubber? Why use rubber? You know, I'm sick and tired of people getting away with shit. I really am sick and tired of this country allowing people to get away with things that they need to be suffering for as a consequence to what they did. There needs to be an equal treatment of that. Like I said, if someone killed someone, I think they should be killed. Now, like I said, George Floyd, everyone's honoring him like Saint George. We should have a church now with all the stained glass windows with George's picture on the stained glass window. That's what we should do now because he's such a saint. How many people actually realize? Because the media does not. I haven't seen a single form of media on TV at all giving you the background of George Floyd. I haven't heard any of them say, you know what? In 2007, he was involved in armed robbery. He held a gun to a woman's belly, and what I heard rumor of, I'm not sure, is the woman was pregnant. I don't know that for a fact, but he held a gun to a woman's stomach to rob that family. Armed robbery with a gun pointed at a woman's stomach while she robbed. He wasn't innocent. He served time. 5 years in jail. Should have served more. Plea bargain. 5 years in jail from 2009. Added up 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Out of jail in 2014. 2014 to 2020. I don't know. Was he a saint? Everyone says he wanted to start up a new life. How about your previous life? How about your previous life? Do we need to forget about the fact that you held a gun to a woman's stomach to rob her? Why would you, if you want to rob someone, all right, so you want to rob someone, so you find out when their house is empty, and you break into the house, so you don't have to hold a gun to a woman's stomach and rob them that way. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but you actually held a gun to a woman's stomach who I said might have been pregnant. You held a gun to a woman's stomach and robbed them. And now we got to fucking honor him with a memorial service where we got Farrakhan out there and we got a bunch of people crying. And you know what? Like I said, this is 6 times now, 6 or 7. There was a murder of George Floyd. Murder, M-U-R-D-E-R. I'm not even going to spell it backwards like they did in that movie, The Shining. I'm spelling it forward. M-U-R-D-E-R. He was murdered by policemen that are criminals that need to be punished for their criminal activity. I am not racist. He deserves to be punished. But I'm not going to fucking honor him by watching the program while pumping iron. I'm not going to watch the program pumping iron and saying, and then with tissue in my hand because I'm pumping iron and every time I hear about George, I'm crying. Pumping iron and crying at the same time. I'm not going to do that. You know why? Because the guy committed a crime. Now, like I said earlier, do we perpetually hold people accountable and punishable for something that they did 6 years ago? When you let them out of jail, they still have a criminal record. And I even said yesterday or a couple days ago, before I got censored by Facebook, I might have said on the show that even got me censored. If you serve time in jail, you served, past tense, ED, time in jail. When you're out, should that sentence be removed so when a background check comes back, It does not punish you for the rest of your life. Because when you get out of jail, you are out of jail to be back in society. You can't be back in society with a fucking crime behind you. People aren't going to hire you. To be honest, I wouldn't hire you. To be honest, I'm not going to hire you. If you held a gun to a woman's stomach and robbed the house, and you come to me 6 years later after you got out of jail in 2014 and I found out on your background record, you know what? I'm not going to hire you. I don't care, because the first thought in my mind is going to be, if you broke into my house and held a gun to my wife's belly, I don't want that. Fuck that. I'm not hiring you. So now is it wrong to hold people accountable for their past history after they served ED, past tense, time in jail? When we let them out, should we let them out without that criminal record so that they actually can get back in society, can contribute, can be rehabilitated so they don't do it again? Or do we need to keep it on their criminal background record to protect people like me who may hire a guy like that and maybe the guy's not rehabilitated? Maybe he's thinking, Dave, look, he's got that big screen TV in his house. I've seen it. He invited me over to a Christmas party. He's got that big screen TV. Dave doesn't pay me enough to support maybe my drug habit and have my life lived. So you know what? You know what I'm going to do? I know where Dave lives. I know where his big screen TV is. He's going to break in. He's going to have a gun. My wife's going to be there. And what's he going to do? Hold a gun to my wife's belly and rob me while I'm not there and paralyze my wife? You know, this is all stuff we got to think about, isn't it? This is the reality of humanity, which sucks, by the way. Humanity, I've said it before. I've never said it on the live camera with me actually saying it. I've texted before. Guys like me at age 61, you know, at some time we always want the fountain of youth. We want to be young again. We want to be, I want to get rid of the gray hair. I want to have the ability to have the same muscles I have now without busting my ass like I have to do now at the age of 61. It was easier back then to build up muscle. Now I got an older body that's fucking up, and I got to push it to its limit to get the muscle back, which I intend to do, by the way. But we will all want that. We don't want that anymore. I don't want the fountain of youth. I'm happy to be deceased when I'm done. I don't want to relive this fucking nightmare of trying to compete. So what do you think about George Floyd? What do you think? Tell me in the chat if you want to. I'm done for today. I'm done for today's show. I brought it up. I talked about it. I probably have people that hate me for talking about it. If you are watching me now, please go to Facebook and tell people, because I can't tell everyone like Sparky and those folks that I'm off of Facebook, but I'm on YouTube. So if you want to watch me on YouTube. Fuck Facebook. I can't even, you know, the funny thing is when Facebook shuts you down, you can't like a post. You can't, like someone said, they invited me to a group. I can't go to that group. I can't do anything. They really, really cut your ass off. I can reach you. You know, it's funny. I can read all the messages that I get, but I can't reply to them. So people probably think, Dave's such a douchebag. He doesn't even reply to me. I can't reply to them because of Facebook's complete and total fucking nightmare of only what they want gets out there. Anything that anyone else wants to put that's different to a large degree or a slight degree, you know what? We ain't going to let them talk. We're going to shut his ass down. There should be a penalty towards Facebook as well. That's all I got, guys. I'm not even going to read the chat because I'm sure most of you fucking hate me, all right? Because I dared say on the day that George Floyd is being memorialized, I dare point out the fact that in 2007, held a gun to a woman's stomach and robbed her. 2009, he served time in jail 5 years. How dare me say that on the day that we're supposed to recognize George as a saint? We're supposed to receive the sacrament, the blood, the wine, the body and blood of Jesus Christ, or whatever denomination of church we're supposed to be celebrating in. We got to honor him today. We got to put sainthood into his. We got to think of him as a saint with a halo. You know what? I'm thinking about him with his overalls and his jail number. That's what I'm thinking about. That's really what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about his jail number. I'm thinking about the police that killed him need to have a jail number as well, because they are guilty of a crime of murder. George Floyd was murdered. However, I'm not going to recognize him as a fucking saint. I'm sorry. And the people that are looting and the people that are burning down buildings in memory of George Floyd as a vigilante to what took place there, they are punishing the entire society. They're punishing me, punishing you, punishing whites, punishing black and Asians. That's all I got. Cheers, guy. Watch this and see who's hurt.
How was last night?
Scary. They went straight to Office Max, the dollar store, and every store over here that I go to. I have nowhere to go now. I have no way to get there because the buses aren't running.